So my name is Christophe Ginisty. I'm French, and I'm the organizer, the creator of a conference called Reputation War. I'm a public relations specialist. I've been working in public relations for many years now. Basically, I've done most of my career in the technology and internet area. I've started to work in the technology sector a long time ago. And there's something very, very important that changed my life is back in 1984. You were not born at this time, but I was 20 years old, and when I saw the Macintosh launch back in 1984, this has changed my life. I was studying law at the university, and I decided I would work for technology players, because Apple founders at this time decided that what they were releasing, what they were putting on the market was not an electronic computer, but was something that would change the world, hopefully. And I said to myself, well, it's cool to work in an industry when you are 20 years old that will change the world. So I decided to stop my studies at the university and to open a PR agency, just to help technology players to change the world and to become famous and to become fan of to become famous. And I started my own PR agency. And by the way, my agency, my own company was my first job experience, which was a little bit funny because, in fact, in most of the cases, when you create a company, when you create your own company, it's because you've been experiencing yourself in other companies that are doing the same stuff. My company was my first job experience. So it was a little bit curious, but it was funny. It was a lot of fun. And in fact, I created an agency that became, in France, because I'm French, one of the top agencies in the PR market in France, and was most of the PR industry, not technology players as clients, and this is it. So aside of my agency, I've also had a very strong activity, because I wanted not only rich people to benefit from technology, but I wanted the entire society to benefit from technology. And I've always been very captured by the need for society to benefit of internet usage, computing usage, everybody to have a computer, everybody to be connected to the internet. So I've been doing a lot of activities aside of my professional business, and I've even created an NGO back in 2008 who was dedicated to the freedom of speech online, and this is it. And now I'm in Latvia because I'm partnering with a group of friends, I could say, that are organizing Reputation War conference, which is a conference that I've created back in 2013 in Paris. It's an international conference on the issues of reputation management. And the first edition of it outside of France will be in Latvia on the 8th of May, and I'm here to work on this. So, is it enough?
So can you tell us something more about this new pop thing, sharing economy?
You know, the sharing economy is not new. The sharing economy is a buzzword. Like in technology, you've got a lot of buzzwords. Sometimes people wake up and say, okay, my God, I found this is new, and this is sharing economy. So you've got a lot of buzzwords like this, which people believe that they have discovered something really new, and they say, wow, my God, this is so new, I'm going to give a name to it, and it's sharing economy. So sharing economy basically names all the actors that are providing something that's putting people together to share their car, to share their coach, to share their talent, or whatever kind of talent could it be. But in fact, and it's, you know, these players are huge. we can name one, which is Uber. Uber, which is a company that is creative alternative taxi experience, and this company has less than 5 years old, and this company is already valuated $17 billion, which is totally crazy and totally, you know. And this company has just no car, doesn't own any car. This company is just putting together people who drive a car and want to experience a kind of a taxi driver experience with people who are looking for a taxi but are tired to pay too much for a taxi, no internet connection, no way to find a taxi with their smartphone and whatever. So in fact, those people have creating an economy which are putting together clients, potential customers of taxi who want to go from one place to another, with people who want to share their own car with providing a service like this. And millions of people, not millions of people, yes, probably millions of people are using this kind of service because it's obvious, and it's obvious that it's easy, it's more convenient, it's more friendly, and it's cheaper, and it's a way for people to share something. So this is the kind of sharing economy actors. Another one which is very famous is Airbnb, which is another opportunity to share your house, your coach, or whatever, your room, for hosting someone who wants to come to your place and not pay expensive rates for hotels and so on. But the reason why I say it's not new, it's because Internet from the very beginning has been developed on the promise of sharing something. Internet is all about sharing. Since the very beginning of the Internet age, you know, the first forums were on the Internet was about sharing. When you think about Wikipedia, Wikipedia is the most fantastic sharing initiative in the world to create a worldwide encyclopedia which is up to date, which is, maybe there are some mistakes on Wikipedia, but that's not a big deal. It's a fantastic project, you know. And Wikipedia, at the origin of Wikipedia, you don't have more than 10 people, you know, and they are creating, thanks to the sharing, the willing to share something, your knowledge, your expertise on any kind of topic, you create fantastic stuff. So Internet is all about sharing since the very beginning. What is amazing is that now the ultimate step of sharing something is that people are making extremely powerful and rich and wealthy businesses out of this. So and sharing economy is wow, it's just fantastic. It's more than an economy. It's a new world. It's a new way of interacting. It's a new way of dealing with people. It's a new way of buying products. It's a new way of sharing what you have, sharing your talent, creating better life conditions, and so on and so on. So it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah. What can you please tell us a bit more about this Reputation War conference? Why people? Why people should attend it? Why is it something new, something else?
You know, reputation is not new. You always had a reputation. Yourself, your company, your friend, your mother, your whatever has a reputation. What is a reputation? I don't know your mother. Everyone, I have a reputation. Everyone has a reputation. What is the reputation? The reputation, basically, to make it easy to understand, is what people believe about you, what people think about you. So you say many things. You say, this is my name, this is what I'm doing, this is my expertise, I'm the kind of guy, I'm a leftist, I believe in this and this and this and this. So you say so many things about yourself. And at the end of the day, people believe something about you. They say, okay, this is what I get from Otto, this is the kind of stuff that I understand from him. Is a cool guy, or is a nasty guy, or is a guy I want to be a friend with or not, or whatever. Reputation is what people understand of what you say, of what you are, of how you behave, etc. So it's not new. You know, from the very old ages, everybody had a repetition. The new thing is that today people are sharing the repetition. So if you've got a repetition, okay, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had the repetition only through the people who knew you, who had one day in their lives interacted with you or talked to you or speak to you on the phone or whatever. Now people will be sharing in the repetition. Even people who don't know you, even people who have never met you, they will be taking advices or input from other people who know you or pretend to know you, and they will create your repetition. And now the sharing element, the sharing layer of repetition is something that is the most important thing today, because it's more powerful than what you can say about yourself. And obviously for individuals sometimes it's, there's not millions of people who will comment your repetition. But in fact, unless you're very famous, but in fact, if you're a brand, or if you're Apple, if you're Canon, if you're whatever, what kind of brand, people will comment your repetition based on what they believe about you, what they feel about you, even if they have never bought a product, but they just feel something. And this will become a truth. This will become a belief, a very strong belief in the society. And people will say, okay, this is what you have to understand about Apple as an example. This is this kind of company. Even if I don't buy Apple products, this is what I think about Apple. So in fact, when you come to a stage or time where only people who know you comment about you, to another time where everybody on this planet can share an opinion about you, it changes everything. Because in fact, the repetition, meaning what people believe about you, will become mainstream. And this will become more important than what you can say about yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. Because if millions of people will be commenting something about, I don't know, and we all know stories about movie stars or CEOs or governments or politicians who one day, say something that is not appropriate, not good, or they are saying something that, it's wow, it's questioning a lot of people. Immediately their reputation can go, wow, on the dark side, and people stop to trust them, and people stop to believe in them, to follow them, and start to hate them, and start, the emotions shared by people online makes the repetition extremely important. And now for every company, for every organization, for every personality, it's more important to figure out what people believe about you than to figure out what you are ready to say to them. Because in fact, the future of interaction will depend on the repetition that you have. And because repetition, everybody's got a repetition. Even the historical, Einstein has a reputation, Charles de Gaulle has a reputation, Stalin has a reputation, but it's not important. Repetition is important when it will make the difference between the desire to interact or not with you. If Stalin has a reputation, Charles de Gaulle has a reputation, who cares? He's got a reputation, it's part of the history. But when Apple has a reputation, or Steve Jobs has a reputation, it will, well, Steve Jobs is dead, but when, I don't know, let's, Elon Musk, the guy who's the CEO of Telsa, this crazy company in America, Telsa Motors. Yeah. Maybe my accent is not good, but this guy has an incredible reputation. Richard Branson has an incredible reputation. And this will dictate the willing of the audience to interact or not with these companies. And in fact, reputation is so important because it will have an influence on your future, on your immediate future, on your ability to interact or to buy a product or not to buy a product. You know, I know so many people around me who would never go to McDonald's because McDonald's has a reputation that is, you know, what providing some junk food and bad for your healthy body or whatever, and they would not go to McDonald's anymore. This is reputation. What people believe have a consequence, immediate consequence on the ability to interact, to buy product and to whatever. It's not what the company is doing, it's not the company's communication strategy that is important, is what people believe. So reputation is more important to figure out than communication, because in fact the reputation is like a mirror. You can, like Snow White, you can say who's the most beautiful on earth, and you believe you're the most beautiful on earth, but the mirror will say no, there's someone else that is most beautiful than you. And this is exactly it. The reputation is the mirror. So it's important. It's more important.
Okay.
So why reputation wars?
Because I wanted to, you know, I know a lot.
To be catchy?
Yes, it is catchy. It is shaky. If you don't care about your reputation, you're going to face troubles, you know. And there's a lot of companies and a lot of very big companies that I know who don't want to care about social media, social networks. They say, well, this is only teenagers that are nasty teenagers. They're spending their years and times, they have no life, and then they're just spending, shouting on social networks and so on. And then just neglect it, because it was for them, it was not, you know, they prefer to talk to civilized journalists and to opinion leaders and trendsetters and, you know, having a cocktail, a glass of champagne. What do you think of my product? Oh, it's very good. So, and this is the kind of a traditional PR landscape. And now they are diving into another environment where people are more direct, more, you know, cash, more, you know, giving them back immediately what they believe about them, etc. And for some years, people have just brands, company, organizations, personalities have just trying to neglect them, to say, well, it's not important. What's going on social media is not important because those guys are not my customers. But now social media has become mainstream. You cannot say, just if you take the example, the only example of Facebook, you cannot say Facebook is a new media when you've got 1.5 billion people online every single day. You're not new, you're mainstream. You know, you have more people in your media, on your platform, than any traditional media on this planet. So one day you realize that what is happening on what you were calling before new media is more important than traditional media. And you wake up suddenly in one morning and you say, oh my God, I've missed something, because okay, I've got two journalists who are crazy in love with me, but those two journalists are talking to 50,000 people. I've got 1 million of crazy nerds and teenagers that are crazy, and they are talking to millions of people. So what's the deal? Do you prefer to talk to those two journalists, very civilized, who will still talk to 50,000 people? Or do you want to have an impact on this million of people? Obviously, you want to have an impact on these millions of people, because in fact, this is where the market is. And the change is becoming one day, people realize that, okay, we need to change the way we are looking at. We need to change our vision, because we need to, we need to go where the conversations are, and we need to go and to understand why those people are shouting at us, what those people are taking this kind of emotion, sharing emotions about ourselves. I'm just giving you an example. Two years ago, Starbucks, which is a very famous brand, coffee, American coffee in the world, coming from America, had a big problem with in England, because in fact they realized in England that Starbucks had put in place a system just to avoid paying tax in England, or in France, or in Germany, maybe in Latvia. If there are Starbucks coffees in Latvia, I don't know. Mm-hmm. No? Good. God bless you. And in fact, in every country with a high level of tax based on profit, they make all the things that can do not to make any profit. So they will never pay tax, because in fact at the end of the day, when the profit is zero, you pay tax on zero, so zero. And in fact in UK, people discovered that they had put two things in place. First thing is that they are paying 6% of the revenue. Every Starbucks in the UK is paying 6% of revenue to Starbucks in the Netherlands for a royalty to use the brand Starbucks. And this is number one. And the number two is they are buying coffee, which is the number one resource, to Starbucks in Switzerland, which is a place, Switzerland and Netherlands, two places where you don't pay tax on profit. And the 6% is okay, but the Switzerland, how does it work in Switzerland? In Switzerland, it works like this. If you're leading a Starbucks in London, and you anticipate that at the end of the fiscal year, you will make a lot of profit because you had a lot of clients, you've been performing super well, and you believe that you anticipate that you will do maybe £1 million of profit in this cafe in Oxford Street or whatever. Immediately, the price of coffee that you're buying in Switzerland will raise. Okay? So instead of buying the coffee 2, you buy the coffee £4 or whatever. And then at the end of the day, the coffee has doubled the price. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you will not make any more profit, because the coffee, the price of the coffee will have raised a lot. Who is taking the money in the coffee? Starbucks in Switzerland. So in fact, they are creating a system to make sure that at the end of the day, this cafe, Starbucks coffee in Oxford Street, will not do any penny of benefit. And the money will be, you know.
But it isn't illegal, right?
It is totally legal.
It isn't.
It is totally legal.
How is it illegal?
Because in fact, it's the same company. If you want to buy your coffee to Starbucks in Switzerland, it's the same company. So in fact, you buy the coffee in your headquarters, you know, and your headquarters is based in Switzerland. That's fine. Well, it's not illegal. And if you want to buy if you get 6% of your revenue going to Starbucks in Amsterdam, because as a royalty to use Starbucks brand, it's not illegal. So everything has been put in place. So why do I talk about Starbucks? Just to say that when the British customers have heard about this story, they immediately called for boycott, and to say to the customers in London and wherever in the UK, this is how Starbucks is behaving in the UK, so please boycott Starbucks. And immediately, thousands of people in the UK, on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever, were calling for boycott to stop going to Starbucks. And immediately, the Starbucks people it's an extremely modern company with measuring the revenue on a real-time basis, had seen that there was an immediate decline of about 20% of the revenue. So, and this has forced Starbucks immediately to stop this kind of attitude and to step back and to go back to the audience and say, okay, we will stop this kind of stuff with UK, with Switzerland, with Netherlands and so on. and they've been doing a lot of speeches to say, okay, we have understood, we will not do this again and again and again. What do you have to learn from this story? Number one, it has nothing to do with the coffee that you're drinking. It has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of service, nothing to do with the primary coffee or biscuits that you're having at Starbucks, yeah. The quality of the Wi-Fi, the quality of the you know, whatever. It is surrounding the activity. It's, I would say, it's even out of the primary concern of a product. But still people are very emotional about this kind of attitude. And they're sharing this on social networks. And this is a piece of reputation. And the reputation is not only on your coffee, on the quality of your coffee, quality of the design of the shops, but on everything. And this is changing a lot because in fact companies like Starbucks, even companies that are making millions of dollars of revenue, benefit or whatever, they are forced to consider that the audience now is not only stupid drinking a good coffee and say, oh, it's a very good coffee, I go back and I'm happy. I'm not happy only with the quality of coffee. I'm happy with the quality of coffee, sure, but as the quality of the behavior of the company. And I want to know that the company is behaving properly, respectful of the environment, respectful of the community, respectful of, you know, the kind of thing that values to me. And as an example, since I know that, you will never meet me in a Starbucks coffee because I would never go again in a Starbucks coffee because I believe my personal ethic is telling me that, okay, I don't want to support that kind of attitude. And again, think of it. It has nothing to do with the core product of the brand. And this is the new world that companies, brands needs to face. It is much broader than the communication techniques and message and whatever. Maybe I'm talking too much.
No, you're not talking too much. But maybe some bit more about the why should people attend the Reputation War conference, and that will be enough.
So if people do not attend, I will take care of your reputation. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. So you.
And like
no. In fact, what I want to say is that it's now the time for every communication, marketing, PR professional to consider that the most important is not what they are saying, what they are communicating, but what people are feeling and what people believe about them. That's the most important. You know, it's we have come. You know, when I started to do communication, to act as a communication professionals, I had some clients who had enough money to convince everybody about something, you know, because they were buying spaces on TV, advertisement on TV, newspaper, in the streets or whatever. They had lots of money, they could do a lot of things to convince people, and people were getting this like top-down messages and say, okay, I believe in that. Now it's not anymore possible because the power of individuals on social networks and social media is much more stronger than any kind of PR, marketing, advertising investment. So in fact, the world has changed, and if you're working in this area, you need to consider that you will be, you need now to understand what people believe, how people react. It's more important than to try to find out what you have to tell them, you know. And today we will more and more professionals will understand that the most important is to have a clear idea of their reputation and why people believe what they believe. And why it is called reputation war, because if you don't take care of this, you will face a crisis because people will comment and people will say many sometimes very bad things about you.